Hey guys, and welcome back to the Ramble. I am your Doomsday Prophet host, Maria Legier, and this is Uncertainties. Tired and drained, and all uncertainties seem to me to be so very, very certain. Time flies by, hollow point bullets exploding on impact, passing tired gloomwalk pedestrians trudging begrudgingly towards the point of no return. The crunch, the press, the cars whizzing and hissing by as if any destination could possibly mean anything today. Brains splattered on grim industrial walls. Witnesses to the horrid splatter gore cast their eyes down, merely watching their feet stepping forwards into the caterwauling cacophony of chaos spread before them in the grim industrial sunrise. Chaos erupting beneath our feet and in our broadly folded papers like sheets of toilet paper, all digital and disenfranchised, hopelessly forlorn and war-torn, hoping for death and wishing for collapse, yet praying for neither. Sacrosanct and salivating, society paints its grim death head's grin a bold and vibrant colour. Shamelessly sheltered, high society see only what they want to see and hear only what they want to hear. The only ones who exist, who act, who live and breathe behind the skull and crossbones of our world are those of a certain class and of a certain tribe that called for the curtains to fall, that called for destruction or for self-destruction of that most terrible adversary known simply as men. News media in digital print, damned shame, can't even be used as toilet paper these days. Lost what little value it had left when going digital. Bog rolls incapacitating the global economy due to global crisis, and we sit and stare at screens that tell us of our inferiority and our privilege, our toxicity and our fragility and our wicked cruelty, carried out by ubermensch gaslighting babblemouths, an indescribable stench of future failures brought on by past perversions of silver-studded tongue-wiggling lesbian separatists with goddess illusions and penis envy, pointing nukes towards our cocks, our balls, our testosterone and masculinity, demanding payment for treason and for warmongering. The same brain-wiped victims of schizophrenia and paranoia that celebrated the Scum Manifesto, saw bright futures in the eradication of men, the genocidal brilliance of the gender studies founders, grand unified field of forceful magic mumbo-jumbo, elucidated eugenics so commonplace and popular amongst the feministas, shape unknown. What wave? Don't matter. They all reek of vomit and of rot, of self-indulging ecstasy, reveling in shared hatred and mutually assured destruction. Men must burn, men must die. Have you killed any men today? If not, why not? Signed on book deals. Eminent calls for violence. Illegal supposedly, but no matter. Calls for violence are no problem when it comes from the protected class wielding pulsating pussies as a get out of jail free card. Jokes are understood and humour no problem then. No cancelling here, old boy. Merely lubricated celebrations from greasy, unwashed eyelids flickering in the shadows of mortified giants, selling abortions on the corner clinics, celebrating death. There's no hatred here, buddy. You're being paranoid and you are glowing in the saintly glow of your white male privilege, your fragile masculinity, your fear of losing your power to the wicked women whom you so hate with all your might and all your raging cock. Who cares what the bestsellers selling best-selling hatred by the pound like cheap drugstore novels have to say? No one listens to them. They ain't no one and they don't even exist. All is well when one dislikes sugar on one's porridge, when one closes one's ears, mouth, teeth, nostril, brain to the world. Like Human Resources Clinton, hands soaked in corruption and war frenzy, cackling like a mad hen-pecking hallucination, complete with blood-stained arms, with legs that kick and lips that scream in quite quiet disgust at such horrible things as men, and gay marriage, and Negroes, you know. They all look the same, as she once said. Supposedly a joke, yet others have been cancelled and made to stand in the laughingstock of social media trial, become tarred and feathered and excommunicated for far less. Self-assured and self-aggrandizing important information from the scenesters and the screamsters and the queensters picking fights on the boulevard of broken face but gagging hallelujahs. Long-lost deep-throated factual information fall down unspeaking, unseeing, unseemly, picking votes by being opportunist to the extreme, holding neither values nor convictions beyond the permanent pussy-clenching power grab. Values change with the winds and are only counted as important if they can deliver both in power and might and influence. Why not? Women have always been the primary victims of war. They lose their husbands, fathers, brothers, sons, poor things, poor things. bleeding out in some godforsaken, strange, asshole, shithole part of the world with cries of mama on his lips, just doing what he was ordered to do ain't no suffering, darling boy. Check your privilege, you mutilated mess, and apologize for bleeding out. Blood got on her hands and teeth, you know, and someone's got to clean that gunk up. Shit. You ain't nothing but government issue, didn't you know, and no one cares in the slightest. Put on your big boy pants and suffer, die, bleed out without this damned complicated mess of constipated complaining that you do. Or bleed out at home, dying by every IV needle intelligently placed drip drop into your aerial arterial, still gasping mama in your final wishing death breath. Forget compassion. Cruelty is the norm. Ignorance is bliss, and disposability the key to unlock the pearly gates and enter into the golden garden of paradise, where you shall be saved in death such as you could not be in life. Cognizant cogs and wondrous wheels and celebrated clockwork of sanctimonious fucktard society, greased and oiled by your blood and sweat and broken, mangled, mingled limbs and body. Brave bovine boy, brave packet of governmentally issued meat. At least he died doing something good and decent and noble and true. Shame that he left someone behind, incapacitated by his sacrifice, poor girl, poor thing. Shame that he is met with hatred for his cock and balls which manifested his mad sacrifice in the first place. No bother, no boo-hoo, I bathe in male tears. And oh his poor mother, and oh his poor sister, and oh his poor girlfriend, partner, wife, spouse, significant other. His sacrifice shall not be in vain, but shall be in vanity, for all our thoughts and empathy go out to them to celebrate and to comfort, so that he shall be remembered through the glassy stare of one more diamond tear upon her pearly necklaced neck. Empty celebration of heroics matter little and counts for naught. Died for his country in extreme bravery, killed by his country in drafted circumstance no matter. Brave, so cold, so cold, to be forced into the waiting arms of death, to suffer no respect at home, no celebrations but mortifications, but pontifications about his involvement in mass genocide and torture. War pigs make the paper, millions march to die. They shall not grow old. And if they do, they shall be shamed with white feathers floating down from high and mighty vice-grip hands and teeth that clench and smear his name with shame, demanding obedience and sacrifice so that she shall wear a poppy later, marking his passing with crocodile tears and demanding he be responsible for the safety of the women and the children who don't need no man, but who needs responsibilities and societal obligations even less. And his hollow, pointless existence pointed out by white feathers and by lashing tongues. Existing as nothing but a grind and a grunt and a stack of meat inside a pile of meat, all toward the massive meat grinder, all state-sanctioned and oh so noble, oh so brave, oh such courage, oh and oh and oh, oh, oh. Bring all your salutations, grand philosophizing rifle exclamations pointing hollow crash boom bangs into the air that saw a spiraling reflection there. Drain out and drain down into the vapid wonderland beyond your state-sanctioned accusatory glare that saw the sacrifice of men as something used to beat them down and so hold them to account. To step upon their necks and kneel upon their chests. A total eclipse of the sun and of the moon that spat upon his mouth and tongue and brain and soul with accusations of baby-killery and other vile and brutal barbarisms not fit for human consumption. He was there by popular demand and popular decree, and now is back and being shamed and smeared for it. Or back and dead and dying, being split and so divided by the gloomy hands of power-hungry harpies harping on about this and about that, never caring either way, for nothing is ever good enough and she must always be there to complain and to nag and to henpeck, to bitch and moan and lay it all on his shoulders, torn apart though they are. None of us exist as more than a clump of cells, shivering gelatinous blobs with neither passions nor love to celebrate, punctuated by grandstanding moral arbiters of hatred spun like cobwebs spun across our eyes, that nailed our tongues to the roof of our moth-eaten mouths, and so called for us to resign when none of us could speak our case no more. For our resignation from our high positions of power, held by us for nothing but us being men, called us out of garden states to look deep within your eyes as we, broken and solidly bruised, stared at them from the gutters, thinking, what the fuck are they on about this time? For our resignation is called by sheltered cushioned selfish ships that sit and stare, and swollen by self-righteous indignation and perplexing solipsism, swelled up to twice or thrice their normal size, from hands that grasp the plate and teeth that bite the hands that feed. See no world outside their own borders in their upper middle-class prisons where dull parades and boredom shine and sing like year-old, but that all the world is such as this, and nothing can exist outside of this. There are no suffering amongst the men, for all the men they see and know are high and mighty, rich and dainty, with hands as soft as baby skin or a freshly shaven, trans-elucidated other kin. The lower classes don't exist, filthy as only filthy peasants may be. And so they see not them nor acknowledge them as men, for men are only those men they know, and all the women they have seen are just as useless, fruitless, pointless, fat and dull and bored as they themselves. It is a pampered and protected class, that's never seen naught but there that call on us for our privilege. How strange, how very much remarkably strange, and yet, where bullshit flies there's always shit to eat, and never once did anyone dare to simply stand there in the rain and piss of shame and say a simple, gorgeous no. And that, I think, was that for this ramble. I hope you enjoyed it more than my previous ramblings. Please like, share, subscribe and all that stuff. Check out the links down below. And I'll catch you next time. And this is Murayology here, signing off.